Previously, the group picked up the pieces in the aftermath of their fight. Keelan went to make a rubbing of the waystone, since that's why they were there in the first place. Taria frantically started studying the sigils and remaining magical energy. After a bit, a very large river otter suddenly showed up. Keelan made a beeline towards it, playing cheerfully with the otter for a moment before realizing everyone else was staring at him. The otter had been hit by the same glowing lights the group had, and it had become larger and more powerful in the aftermath. It had also started to remember the memories of another otter, Saba, who Keelan had once known. Once they were done in the clearing, the group headed back towards the main road. They arrived at the edge of the woods as it was getting dark, and everyone settled in to camp for the night. All of them had a shared dream, or a vision in one case, and they saw sigils like the one they'd seen in the clearing in various places around the world. One in a cave, one in the sea, one in the tundra, more and more of them. They saw visions of storms and lightning. They saw eyes in the clouds. They saw a cloud erupt from a sigil and go into some bulls, which gored a stable boy before running into the woods. That looked a lot like the ones the group were in right then. They saw a massive, devouring maw. The next morning, the group talked about the vision/dream they'd all had. Zaya had seen the maw in her dreams before, so she was more talkative than usual. It came out that Tornak had seen the storm from their dreams before, too. It had destroyed the ship he was on. As they were talking, the group heard the sound of a horse heading towards them, and Tornak rushed in that direction to get a copy of the day's paper. Zaya asked Taria some more questions about why she was so familiar about magic. Her mother had been interested in it, and Taria's uncle had sold her family out for being sympathetic to magic. The day continued without issue. They passed a cart carrying alcohol on the road, which was clearly heading towards Abydos. Then they came across a cart heading in the same direction as them that had a dead owlbear on the back of it. Keelan was curious about it, so Sean and Zaya headed up to talk to the adventuring party that was traveling with the cart. Their leader was a very attractive human woman with a beautiful glaive, and more flirting was done than information gathering. The group later agreed that Sean and Zaya weren't allowed to do anything by themselves ever again. That night, during the first watch, Oz and Zaya saw 3 figures making their way towards the camp, wearing the clothing of praetors. Oz immediately pretended to be asleep, while Zaya ducked into Sean's tent and told her to get out there and start lying. Sean quickly did so, and she was able to bluff her way through the conversation to convince the praetors that their group was harmless and completely unrelated from any magic use back in the city. A quick scan revealed no active magic on Sean, so the praetors left the rest of the group alone and moved on. The rest of the night's watches passed without issue. And that is where we left off.